Today I messed up by replying to an ex-Marine's review on Yelp. So I work at a pizza restaurant and me and my coworker like to dig around when it's slow, so we decided it would be a good idea to read the Yelp reviews for our store. We come across this review from a guy named Daniel and he is annoyed at another one of our coworkers who he said was disrespectful. He then stated that had there not been a family with small kids in front of him in line, he would have shown her some real manners. So obviously this guy is a little unhinged. My coworker dared me to respond to him, and I'm always game for a dare, so I reply, "Sir, please calm down." We get a good laugh out of it and continue working. Fast forward a week, I get a notification from Daniel on Yelp, because apparently direct messaging is a thing on Yelp. The message reads, "Calm down? Who the hell are you? You work there too. I'm coming in and asking for you by name and you can tell me if you have a goddamn problem in person." Yeesh. I mean, I'm a 19-year-old girl, is he gonna beat me up? Anyway, I go in there tomorrow morning and I think the most embarrassing thing I'll ever have to do is tell my coworkers to pretend my name is something else because I have an ex-Marine on his way to beat me up. Too long. Didn't read. I used my Yelp account that has my real name on it to reply to a very threatening review for the restaurant I work at, and now the guy is on his way to the store to settle things in person. Today I messed up by sticking my finger in a hole it doesn't belong in. This happened when I was around 6 at a bank with my mum. My mum was sorting something out at the counter, and at this bank, in addition to the screens, they had a small area to pass stuff between with a see-through cover and a lot of holes. I discovered that I could easily fit all but my index finger in these holes. For whatever reason, I decided to test whether these holes were all the same size by attempting to stick my index finger in each hole, and ignoring my mother who told me not to do that as it'll get trapped. The first row of holes were as you would expect. My finger wouldn't go in past the join, so I moved on to the next row. About halfway through I finally succeeded and got my finger in one. I go to remove it and test the next hole only to discover, to my horror, that my finger wouldn't move. My mother, noticing my finger in the forbidden holes, tells me to stop again or there'll be trouble and turns back to the bank teller. It takes a little while longer before my mum notices my finger is still in the hole and yells at me to remove it. I explain I can't and she, quite forcefully, tries to remove it only to realize that it is now stuck firm and slightly swollen. After a verbal blocking that can be summarized as "I told you that would happen, you idiot," the bank teller grabs a bottle of fairy liquid from the kitchen and attempts to lubricate my finger enough for it to escape. Even after dousing my finger and most of the cover, my finger remains stubbornly in place. At this point, the bank manager decides that she needs reinforcements and calls the fire brigade. They expected they'd just send one of the cars, but no, we get the full engine and 6 burly firemen turn up with lights and sirens, followed by an ambulance who had been dispatched because I was a kid. The fire department don't tell us that the ambulance is only there in case the firemen accidentally chop up their finger. The firemen look at my finger, try yanking it a few times, spray some of their own brand special sauce on it, and then try yanking it again. My finger resolutely stays in place and the firemen grab a small saw-like tool to help cut me out. Whilst one chats to me, the other cuts through the holes around my finger, giving me freedom but with a fairly large ring on it. They move me to one of the tables, sit me down, and then gently cut into the plastic either side of my finger. Finally they grab the plastic and snap the remaining bit, allowing my finger to regain its freedom. The paramedics give it a look over and I'm free to go home with my fairly bemused mother and my dad, who found the whole thing hilarious. Too long. Didn't read. Stuck my finger in one of the holes in the bulletproof plastic and had to get the fire brigade to cut it free. Today I messed up by attempting a push-up. Happened like 3 hours ago. I used to do a lot of plyometric push-ups in the past, like 2 years ago, so after a random bodyweight fitness video got autoplayed on my YouTube, I thought I'd see if I could still do them. Started with just pushing myself off the ground, no problem. Next, clap push-ups, still got the strength to do them. Then I think, maybe I can do behind the back clap push-ups. And boom, faceplant into the floor, which somehow gives me a gash on my chin. Things like 7 millimeters deep, 1/4 of an inch for all my American friends. Bleeding won't stop. Most urgent care centers around me are closed because COVID somehow makes them shut earlier. Ended up going to the ER, waited 3 hours, and got stitches. Too long. Didn't read. Attempted a trick push-up thinking I had the strength of my younger self from 2 years ago. Fell on my face and needed stitches. Today I messed up by making my fiance second guess our relationship. So some context for all this first. My fiance makes this joke, if you end up being gay, I will end us both. She says it only because I'm pretty and because I make the typical jokes when around my guy friends. Next is I've been teaching myself code and am trying my hand at a game, visual novel. The final thing is that this visual novel is an adult one, only because I saw that a game, Summertime Saga, my friend played brings in $70K plus a month. So since I'm doing all the coding and design/artwork myself, I have to draw penises. Being cut, I don't have a good visual on what an uncut penis looks like and I needed to draw one. So I was looking up references after she left, because she doesn't know what I'm working on, but as you can guess she must have forgotten something and came back and saw my 49 inches monitor just covered in uncircumcised penises. I don't know how long she was standing there watching me scroll, but when I heard a noise through my headphones, I knew I was screwed. She started crying and saying she knew it, and then I had to show her the game I was making to convince her I wasn't gay, which wasn't much better. I told her I was only pandering because of how much money the other game makes. As of now, wedding is still on, but now she thinks I'm a pervert. This all just happened last night, so there will probably be a pretty big fight tonight. Wish me luck. Too long. Didn't read. Fiancé saw so many uncircumcised penises on my giant monitor and now her worst fear is confirmed and also thinks I'm a huge pervert. Wedding is still on. For now.